Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the roof of Orange Garage where we're currently sitting in the Jeep. Yeah, I know it's not the most shaded area, but the Jeep is nice and cool, even with the AC off and the windows down, got a little breeze coming through, so perfect place to hang out and chat for a bit. Also, the Disney magic is all around us. Right behind you we have Spaceship Earth, and then off to your left here we have the Aerophile, so lots of excitement happening just in our peripheral, which is nice. Anyway, I wanted to chat with you because I got a comment the other day that I wanted to respond to. And I know what you're thinking. You don't have to sit down with us and have a conversation every time you get a comment that you want to respond to. You're right. And I don't always sit down and chat with you. But every once in a while, someone comments something that I feel like would benefit all of us if I sit down and chat about. And this is one of those days. And look, this conversation is a little bit about DVC, a little bit about the way that we do things here. Also, I'm gonna tag on some additional information that's related to a comment I got about a week ago now, I think it was. And I apologize that it kind of fell off the stove entirely. It didn't even make its way to the back burner. But I was sick and timing and, it was just a week. Anyway, I wanted to really devote some time to this because I think that it'll give you a better sense of understanding where I'm coming from. You get to know me a little bit better. I also don't spend too much time like sitting down and explaining who I am with you guys. And I know some of you want to hear a little bit more about that. Some of you probably, you might be new here. You want to hear a little bit more about where I'm coming from, my perspective and everything. I know I did get a few comments about that very recently as well. It's a conversation that we're not going to get into today, but this one we're going to dig into. So, learning about the people you're hanging out with is always a good plan. So I figure let's use this as an opportunity to learn a little bit more about each other. So anyway, like I said, this comment starts off talking a little bit about DVC. I'm not going to read it verbatim, but actually, you know what? I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's take a step back. Before we actually get on this ride, okay? I'm going to need you to not only strap yourself in and pull that yellow strap. This is going to be more intense than that. We got to pull that shoulder harness down, okay? I know that this is going to rub some people the wrong way. Like, this conversation is not going to sit well with some of you, and that's okay. That's totally okay, because I am not everyone's cup of tea, okay? But I've always said that I'm going to be real with you and honest with you, and this is no exception. So we're about to get real. We're about to get honest. If I rub you the wrong way and you just don't want to be here anymore, I totally understand. Sorry, there is a wasp that is trying to attack me right now. All right, windows up. I think we're safe now. If you realize after today's conversation that I'm too much for you or that this channel is not what you're looking for, that's totally fine. It was good. It was good what we had while we had it. But anyway, I'm gonna just be real with you, like I say I always will. So I hope that you understand, and I hope that you are secure. Go ahead and push up on that restraint for me real quick. Are we good? All right, let's jump in. Okay, so I'm not gonna read this comment verbatim. I'm not gonna go through every single detail that is discussed here, but it is about DVC, referencing, like preferences about DVC. And this person goes on to say, I'm not sure DVC members that have been DVC a long time understand that there are more than one expectation of DVC. Just a thought. So I've been a DVC member for a long time. My family has been DVC members for a long time. And I've discussed this with them. I've discussed this with other long-time DVC members as well. DVC members who have been DVC members for a long time, we are very, very well aware that the expectation that some members, especially newer members, have of DVC is different from what we expect of DVC. And we know that because the standards, especially of new members, have dropped just dramatically over the years. And yeah, I know it's uncomfortable to hear, and I know that no one points this out, but the facts are the facts. And when you agree to pay more, and you're just totally stoked about getting less, which a lot of Disney Vacation Club members, especially newer Disney Vacation Club members are. Some even, wag their finger at members like me who are sitting here pointing out that perks and benefits are being stripped away and we're not happy with what we're being given. And they say things like, well, at least you're being given something. That is giving Disney and DVC the go-ahead to continue to chop away at those perks and benefits. And that's what they've been doing over the years. pay more, you literally get less, and there are people who are just all too thrilled for that. They're happy to pay more to get less. And I've been talking about this for quite some time. I talked about this with the Riviera. It's so glaringly obvious with the cabins that, I mean, if you're not seeing it with the cabins, you're not looking. But I'm not going to get into that whole conversation. But yeah, we're very well aware that the expectations are different. But what's very disappointing is that when your standards have dropped so incredibly low, what you don't realize is that, especially when you're a new member, is that over time, if it happened to us, that should be a warning to you that you need to stand up for making sure that you're not losing your perks and benefits over time as well, that the quality of what you bought into doesn't decrease the way it did for us. And that's exactly what happened. Members like myself, members like my family members who I've had huge conversations with about this very topic, especially following my stay at the cabins, they see the vast difference, and they're still on that same contract that they bought 20 plus years ago. This person also then goes on to say, also, it's not wise to say, quote, it looks like IKEA furniture, because IKEA is a billion-dollar company and many people, including YouTubers, have IKEA in their homes. Let me be clear about something. First and foremost, I have IKEA in my home. There's nothing wrong with IKEA. IKEA, as successful a company as they might be, is not known for quality or longevity. They're known for affordable options to furnish your home. And yes, I think that they're a great option to furnish your home. But we're not talking about a home here. We're talking about a deluxe Disney Vacation Club property. A property that's going to get used and abused by people regularly, and it needs to be able to have quality in order to prevent excess cost to members, again, people like yourself and like me, having to pay for maintenance, repairs, replacement, and so on. Now, I did very much say in that review that I don't say this lightly, and I don't say that it looks like IKEA furniture lightly. Here's why I did say it though, and I know I didn't go into detail in the review. The bunk beds, you know how they have bolts that bolt them onto the wall? Normally, quality furniture would have like these little plugs, these wooden plugs that you would put in so that you can cover those holes. This had stickers. Yeah, stickers. Very similar to something that you might find if you were buying your furniture from IKEA or something like Amazon. Another really successful company, not really known for quality though. I could go on. I'm not going to, but there is something that I want to touch on. And this is kind of where I think some of you, again, are going to get rubbed the wrong way. Others are going to go, oh, okay, so this is where you're coming from. This is the type of person that I'm talking to. So I think that this can tell you a little bit about me. Super respectfully, I do not care what you think is wise for me to say, or what anyone thinks is wise for me to say. Like, let me be clear. This isn't me picking on this person who left this comment. This is me telling you that I'm real with you. I'm honest with you. I am not taking what I say and adjusting it in a way that's going to deliver the message you want to hear. You know, I might say, I want to tell you what you want and need to know. Yeah, what you want and need to know. But I'm not telling you what you want to hear. I am telling you what it is based on my experience. And I will never change that, and I have never changed that. If that means that some of you are going to walk away today and you're going to go, I can't be around this type of person. I can't have this type of person in my life. I don't want to hear things that are real. I want to see everything through rose-colored glasses. I totally understand. There are plenty of other channels out there who curate what they say and they show you only what you want to see and tell you only what you want to hear. I am not that channel. I am a channel who is giving you the information that you need to know to have a better trip and to make the decisions that are right for you and your family. And sometimes that's going to be hard to hear. And sometimes you're going to hear things that you don't want to hear. And sometimes that reality is going to just slap you across the face. This might be one of those times. But I'm never going to change that. I'm never going to change that. And you know what? That probably means that I won't be as popular a channel, and that's totally fine. It probably means that I'll never be invited out by Disney or Universal or anyone. I don't care, because that's not what this is about. This is about being here for you to get you the information that you want and need so that you can have a more successful vacation. That's always been my goal. It's always been my goal. We just talked about this the other day in the sick day Q&A. You know, I want you to do this in the best way possible for you and your family, and you can't do that if people aren't being real and honest. So I'm going to be real and honest. Okay, now that all that's out of the way, we're going to take hard left turn, and I'm going to talk a little bit about another comment that I got really briefly, okay? It's all connected, but it's kind of not. So just bear with me for those of you who are still hanging out with me right now. So I also got a comment the other day asking why it was so difficult for me to get on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Like, it was such a production. And they referenced how other YouTubers seem to have much more success. They had access a long time ago, and why did it take me so long and everything. So I wanted to just kind of like peel the curtain back real quick and explain why that was the case. So the thing with YouTube and with content creators is that there are programs that certain companies like Disney run where they invite certain YouTubers out. They'll invite them out to do special events, special previews, stuff like that. There are also previews for annual pass holders, which I am. I was unable to get into that preview. Disney Vacation Club members, which I am. I was unable to get into that preview. And so, you know, sometimes they are either invited out by Disney, or sometimes they are invited out by other people who are fans of the channel, and they're like, hey, I got into the preview, want to come with me? Maybe they're friends with cast members, or maybe they are cast members. Like, there's 1,000 different ways that you could end up getting on that attraction easier than I was able to. Now, I unfortunately was unable to get in on any of the previews, just myself, as I mentioned, and I wasn't invited out by anyone who was an AP or DVC member. I wasn't invited out by any cast members, and I wasn't invited out by Disney. All of that, by the way, totally fine, because that means that my experience is an experience that is very similar to the experience that you would be able to have if you were doing this, which is the experience that I really want to share with you. Don't get me wrong, it's super great to be able to be invited out and to have that preview. That can be a lot of fun, but the thing about previews and being invited out by Disney specifically, if you're like on the media list or whatever, is it's a very curated experience, and everything is going as well as it can go, so that, you know, like people like me can present that to people like you with Disney putting their best foot forward. And that's great, but that's not necessarily the experience you're gonna have. And so I feel like, you know, even though there's nothing wrong with going to media events, like I totally understand, it's marketing, you know, like it's business. And I don't like have any problems with people who go to media events and share their experience at media events. Like, I just want to be clear about that, because there's always someone who's going to say, oh, you're jealous, you're throwing shade. No, not jealous, don't care. You know, everyone does what they do in a different way. But media events can also be tricky, because at some of these media events, not only is the experience curated, sometimes things happen at media events that just aren't going to be offered to you, the guest. And I can't stand when they show off like special meet and greets or costumes or whatever that you're never going to be able to see, because I hear people in the parks talk about how they want to meet like Mickey and Minnie in their Tron outfits, but that was never available to you. That was only ever available as part of a media event. So I don't like the bait and switch there. And quite frankly, if I was invited out to a media event, which I don't ever see happening, I wouldn't be sharing that with you. Or I'd be open with you that this is something that you can't experience, because you can't. And I don't want to get your hopes up. Again, real, honest. That's my top priority. And so, you know, I'm saying a lot here, but ultimately what I'm trying to get at is it took me as long as it did because I was just sharing my experience that I was having in the same way that you would have an experience, you know, doing all the same things that you would have to do and dealing with all the things that you may have to deal with. And you might not have to deal with those things, and that's great if you're one of the people who didn't, but I at least want to help you navigate what to do if things go wrong. That's also why I share my experiences with you, good, bad, and otherwise, because I want you to know, like, it's not always perfect here. And that's totally fine. Like, that's life, you know, nothing's going to be perfect all the time. But the key is, how are we going to figure it out when it doesn't go right, you know? So, yeah. Anyway, I'm getting a little toasty. I think it's time to make our way in. Got some fun things that I want to check out today, but I hope that this gave you a little bit of insight into like where I'm coming from. Again, that's why I wanted to sit down and chat with you today. I want to give you an idea of like what's going on up here and just let you know, like, this is why I do what I do in the way that I do it. So, but yeah, I hope that you learned a little something about me. I hope that this gave you a better idea of where I'm coming from. Got a few more conversations like this one on the horizon. Hopefully they won't require, you know, any of that over-the-shoulder harness situation. It's not really the most comfortable, you know, but sometimes conversations get a little rocky. I'm sure that this one may have, but a little bit more mild, some of these future conversations. But what I'm getting at is conversations that will hopefully help you get a better sense of who I am and what it is we're doing here. Anyway, I'm off. Thanks for hanging out, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Also, feel free to share your comments in the comments. Thoughts. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say. All right. Till then. Bye.